here's Michelle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually get some of my supplies here. And I've just got a piece of paper here. And I've also got a chamois or a paper towel, the bamboo paper towel, you know, something to smear with the smudging techniques. What I'll do right here is actually just, I'll lay in a color to start with. And I think I'll do an analogous color scheme first, and then I'll do the same pose, maybe split complementary. You can draw too. But if you actually can just use the side of your charcoal and just block in something. I mean, we've done this with your other charcoal, all right? And I'm not even going to finish that whole side. I'm just going to start to sketch in the angles of things here. She's got this wonderful pose. And again, I'm blocking things in. So this is going to be analogous, but I just started to paint. You guys were talking about working with the wrist or the side of the pencil or something. As much as you can. You see how I'm actually moving my whole arm. I'm not just like leaving my wrist down here and then just moving my hand. I'm actually using from my shoulder to my hand, you know, to get these movements in. Even though it's not a big piece of paper, I'm using my body. Okay, so that's how I laid this in. Now you can use a chamois, you can smear this around, or you can just piece of the bamboo paper towel if you have purchased that. So there's like the start of the drawing. I think red is a good color that was analogous to this. So now I'm going to find, you know, like markers of anatomy now, all right, and blocking in the corners of the bones that show through the surface of the skin. The belly button, put that in there. I'm going to try to emphasize that this is the dark side and that's going to be more light over there, but I might decide I want to put some color over there too. It's a lot like painting, call it finger painting if you want to, but I'm pulling out colors that are very close to each other. See, like those three colors. I might have to stop right there, but I'm seeing something else in my set that looks interesting to me, which is, it's kind of a transition between those colors. So I'm going to go with that. I would call that analogous. And if I wanted to go any darker than that, you know, I might go with a brown or something, and I have to stop. I have to stop. That's why having limited palette is even better here. All right, so here we go. Tilt down here, you know, look at the, you know, where things are going. If you keep working with corners of bones that show through the surface of the skin, you kind of can't go too wrong in terms of laying in, you know, basically making it's sort of a blocking in, they call making a statement, making your first statements of the form. Do you remember how in the leg drawing day, we talked about the inside leg being straighter and there's a 3 on the outside? Look how useful that shorthand is here in terms of finding where the foot is. All right, here. So this is how I start. Now I'm going to make her hair red. And you go, she doesn't have red hair. I don't care. Now she does. All right, this shoulder is higher. I'm not going to have room for the hand that's up above, but I'm going to notice a little bit more of the compression on this side and the stretch. It's the squash and the stretch, right? So now I want to start adding some color into here, like it's highlights. And you go, those aren't highlights. It's all right. Highlight going down her leg here, here. I'm gonna put a little highlight there too. It's like, where's her bathing suit? Okay, so I'm going to erase some of the material, and I'm going to use a blending stick, a little muddy there. Blocking that in. Now I think I'll use the brown to put in the eyes. And the eyes there. Deltoid, pulling this in. And now I'm going to actually add a little more shadow with the darker color here. The belly button. And build this up. All right, so that's where I went with this. I think I'm going to go back in with the red. All right. On this side, just on this side. And make a bigger statement over here. La boom. Okay. And there you have it. That's an analogous color scheme. And I've tried to use the lighter color on one side. Imagine this light source over here. And the darker color on this side. Right here. If I want to push this, I'm just going to see what happens if we just push this all into shadow on this side. What you can do is, if you do a quick sketch and then decide you like it or you don't like it, then you can do a bigger drawing. Going around there, the belly. Bring a few more highlights in here. All right, so that's, I guess, what I'm seeing happening. I want to move on to the colors, the complementary color schemes. But that's what we were doing. All right. Does that look like fun to you guys? So basically, I got my colors, my palettes here, basically, if you will. And the first thing I did was I laid in a gesture which is very light, kind of blocking that in. There's the human being shape. We're still using that. There's the, lining things up. You see, it's a blocking in of the gesture. And if an angle's like this, you can push that. If there's an angle here, there's going to be a complement the angle there. There's the markers of anatomy. It's all here. It's all here. And every pose is going to give you corners of bones that are going to be there. There's the bottom of the rib cage, So essentially, you've got a system now to start your drawings. And if you do that with the, smearing it in, if you want to smear it in, with the chamois, smear it in with the chamois, but somehow get started, but don't forget gesture is going to be important, laying that in. And then you can check your proportions. It's like a non-stop game, checking proportions. So, there's, to the very last day of this class, I'm going to be asking people to work with their proportions. So that's my gesture. I'll put this arm up here, put this arm up here. All right. I think I'm going to just, I'm going to lay in the blue on this side because I want to. All right. It's not like scientific. I'll make a confession to you guys because there's just 5 of you here. And I don't know if anybody actually watches these recordings. But to me, color is play. And if I ever had to actually do it for a job, I don't think I'd have as much fun with it. So I'll leave the color designs for people who apply for those jobs in the studios. I'll keep animating. I've got a freelance job right now, but I'd rather just play. And that's when I go painting, when I do the plein air painting, I'm just having fun out there. I'm not competing. I've never entered a competition. People get very serious about their plein air painting, but that looks like an interesting vibration of color there. You can get into some abstractions along the way here. Okay, so let's put a belly button in there. Let's give her some anatomical features. All right. Let's give her the blue hair this time. Blue. That was really popular, blue hair a couple of years ago. I guess blue hair is so 2019. Okay. And the shadows are going to be blue. Shadows are going to be blue. There. And toe, 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 toe. Ankle is higher on the inside, lower on the outside, toe, 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 toe. We'll give her a bottom of the kneecap, little patella there. Right. And then really define some of these things. So that would be kind of where I would start. All right. I've got this. This is a little, brighter. I don't know if you can see that. It's actually pretty saturated. I don't think it's coming through at the camera, but I'm going to lay in some highlights here. A little bolder. Here. Like that. Something like that. If you want to see what happens, when you smear. I mean, I'm willing to experiment. That's what it's all about. You can experiment with that, but all I'm getting is with this is, it becomes almost like a watercolor look to it, which is kind of cool. But maybe I need more porous paper. The Conte crayon has got wax in it, okay? So, that can be super cool too, If you've got Conte crayon. Now, these are, here's the Prismacolor, right? The new pastel. It's a very vibrant color here. You're going to love these. I'll show you what if you can ask Santa for a present, this would be the one I would ask for. The new pastels. They're awesome. A little pricey, but really worth it, and they last a long time. It's sort of a mixture between pastels and Prismacolors. It's a high quality, but it's still not as expensive as some of the ones that like our friend Virginia Kamey uses, where you can pay $10 for one stick of pastel, or more, right? So that would be complementary. It's getting a little murky and muddy in there, too much blending, but that's the idea. All right. What do you think? It's kind of fun. All right. So I'm going to stop right there. Well, sort of compare the two. Analogous, and this is a complementary color scheme. All right. And those didn't take too long. That might have taken 10 minutes to do each of them, about like that, right? We'll stop.